All right. Slides are changing, right? When I so I'm trying to share only the tab right now. Slides are changing.
Yes, sir,
Yes.
changing.
Great. All right. So let's start the discussion. So we'll start with a story of a nurse, and the story is from the 19th century. It's a story about how data science was used in the earlier days, especially in healthcare. And the story is during 19th century. There was a Crimea War going on in England, and there was a nurse जिनका नाम था फ्लोरेंस नाइटिंगेल और शी वाज ट्राइंग टू अंडरस्टैंड कि जो लोग अभी मर रहे हैं, राइट, द मोर्टेलिटी रेट व्हिच इज हैपनिंग ड्यू टू द वॉर, is it really due to the war or is it due to something else? So she was really passionate and trying to understand कि क्यों इतने लोग मर रहे हैं. And that is when she started collecting data. उन्होंने डेटा कलेक्ट किया, मोर्टेलिटी रेट के बारे में डेटा कलेक्ट किया, कितने लोग किस रीजंस की वजह से मर रहे हैं उनके बारे में डेटा कलेक्ट किया. एंड रिमेंबर दिस इज द 19th सेंचुरी. तब उनके पास कंप्यूटर्स नहीं थे, तब उनके पास कुछ डिवाइसेस नहीं थे जहां पे वो डेटा स्टोर करके रख सकते थे. शी वाज जस्ट कलेक्टिंग दैट डेटा ऑन piece of paper, and she didn't have any knowledge about bookkeeping. She didn't have any knowledge of understanding the data and any of that. She was just a nurse. Nurse का काम क्या होता है? Helping the wounded people in the war and taking care of them. So she had faced many challenges at that time. Data collection भी बहुत मुश्किल था उनके लिए, but still she went ahead with her data collection process. And because of her starting to collecting the data, and she almost worked for 2 years just to prove that, firstly, the deaths that are happening could be avoided. Second, how data can really be used, or how information can be used. So she was really a pioneer in the data science field, especially in the healthcare in 19th century. So she is one of the examples that you will hear in many places, especially in healthcare. All right. तो उनका डेटा कलेक्शन करने का रीजन ये था कि एविडेंस हम लोग कलेक्ट करेंगे या फिर एविडेंस देंगे ताकि डिसीजंस ले सके हमारे हेल्थ केयर में. इनफैक्ट उनके काम की वजह से आज भी हम लोग जो हॉस्पिटल्स में कंडीशंस होते हैं, जो आपको क्लीनलीनेस दिखाई देता है या फिर जो आप एक्सपेक्ट करते हो, दैट वाज मेनली ड्यू टू हर वर्क इन हेल्थ केयर that started in 19th century. So she is still regarded as one of the person who has improved the hospital conditions back in the day. And she's also attributed to the cleanliness we see in the hospitals in nowadays too. All right. So I'll just show you what she did, and with that story, we'll start our journey. Okay. So after collecting the data, I think what's happening here is थोड़ा सा नीचे का slides cut हो रहा है. Let me stop sharing this and start sharing the full thing. Okay. All right. That was the issue. So you'll see a chart here on the left side. This chart is going from 1854 all the way through April 1854, May 1854, June 1854, July 1854, all the way to March 1855. So this is 1 year ka chart. Okay, so this is 1 year ka chart. Now this second chart is also the same chart, but this is starting in 1855. So this is April 1855, May, June, July, all the way until March of 56. ठीक है, तो ये एक साल का डेटा है और मार्च से लेके अप्रैल तक, अप्रैल से लेके मार्च तक, एंड दिस इज द सेम बट द नेक्स्ट ईयर ऑफ दैट. ओके. सो व्हाट शी प्रूव्ड वाज, फर्स्टली उन्होंने ये चार्ट कैसे ड्रॉ किया. आपको जो ब्लू कलर के यहाँ पे शेप दिख रहे हैं, सो ब्लू कलर बेसिकली मींस कितने लोग प्रिवेंटेबल डिसीजेस, मतलब हाइजीनिक कंडीशंस नहीं है आपके कैंप में, उसके वजह से कितने लोगों की डेथ हो रही है. ओके. सो दोज आर द ब्लू वंस. तो फॉर एग्जांपल यहाँ पर अप्रैल में यू डोंट सी एनी, बट सडनली इन जुलाई यू सी दैट यहाँ पे बहुत बड़ा स्पाइक है. तो जुलाई में इतने लोग प्रिवेंटेबल डिसीजेस की वजह से मरे. maybe due to sanitation, maybe due to not taking medicine on time and things like that. Okay, then in August the numbers are increasing slowly until January 1855. You'll see a big bump here, right? So this is where you'll see that many people are dying due to the preventable diseases. ठीक है, so blue ones are preventable diseases, red are due to the wound, मतलब जो war हो रहा है उसमें कितने लोग जख्मी हो रहे हैं, उसमें कितने लोग मर रहे हैं, so that is this red one. And the black one is other causes, जिन causes के बारे में पता नहीं, maybe natural deaths or maybe something which cannot be prevented at all, वो deaths हैं. All right, I think there's someone waiting in the room, let me just join the person. So as you can see here, so this is really a simple chart, but it tells a story that most of the deaths that are happening due to the preventable diseases. And what she suggested was कि एक काम करते हैं, अभी sanitation के stations बढ़ाते हैं, we'll keep our hospitals clean, we'll keep the patients in a cleaner place and things like that. Okay, as soon as that was done, so you'll see this second chart, which shows the change. You'll see that the change here, the change is in this particular area. September 1855 say March 1856 tak, you'll not see any bumps. You'll not see deaths due to the preventable diseases. There are few deaths due to the preventable diseases, but suddenly there's a drop in the preventable diseases, because of which many of the people who were at the war, especially in the hospital camps of the military, उनकी जानें बच गई इसकी वजह से. ठीक है, तो that is why she is regarded as one of the pioneers at that time. This is something that feels very obvious हमें आज के दिन में, but at that time it was not very obvious to those people. So with that story, we'll get started. All right, so first thing we are going to discuss is the rise of data science. How did the data science really rise, and what is the reason that the data science is rising even in these days? Okay, near future. सबसे पहला रीजन, एक्सप्लोजन ऑफ डेटा. जो डेटा कलेक्ट किया जा रहा है वो बहुत ज्यादा है एज कम्पेयर टू द अर्लियर डेज. वी हैव सेंसर डेटा, वी हैव सोशल मीडिया डेटा, वी हैव ऑनलाइन ट्रांजैक्शंस हैपनिंग. डेबिट कार्ड, क्रेडिट कार्ड के सब ऑनलाइन होते हैं ट्रांजैक्शंस. अभी आप ऑनलाइन चीजें खरीदते हो, आप ऑनलाइन इंटरेक्शंस करते हो, वो सारा डेटा कलेक्ट हो रहा है अभी. ओके, दैट्स वन रीजन. सेकंड, जो कंप्यूटिंग पावर थी वो पहले बहुत कम थी, बट नाउ डेज द कंप्यूटिंग एंड द स्टोरेज कैपेबिलिटीज आर एनॉर्मस. आप सुपर कंप्यूटर पहले अगर एक दो रहते थे 1990s में, now you can imagine that there are many super computers available around. In fact, जो पहले के सुपर कंप्यूटर थे वो आज आप देखोगे कि पर्सनल कंप्यूटर्स बोल के भी यूज कर रहे हैं लोग, right? So there is a advancement in computing power, which has also led to rise in the data science as a field in general. Third is the availability of the open source tools. आप बहुत सारे लाइब्रेरीज सुनते हो, पैंडास के बारे में, नमपाई के बारे में, पाइथन के बारे में, आर के बारे में. फिर उसके बाद में अगर आपने और भी ओपन सोर्स कोड्स या फिर ओपन सोर्स फॉलो करते हो, तो आपको बिग डेटा के बहुत सारे टूल्स के बारे में पता चलेगा जो ओपन सोर्स है, मतलब फ्रीली अवेलेबल है. और उसके ऊपर बहुत बड़ी डेवलपमेंट कम्युनिटी है जो रोज काम करती है, रोज बग फिक्स करती है, रोज उसमें डेवलपमेंट होते रहती है कुछ ना कुछ. ठीक है, तो दैट हैज इंक्रीज्ड. नेक्स्ट पॉइंट इज द बिजनेस वैल्यू. जो भी बिजनेसेस डेटा का यूज करके डिसीजन मेकिंग नहीं कर रहे हैं आज, दे आर लेफ्ट बिहाइंड और दे आर आउट ऑफ बिजनेस. Very simple example that we hear pretty often is Nokia mobile phones, right? So Nokia mobile phones, maybe a decade or two decades back, they were having a big market share. Almost, I think they were having a market share of 75 to 80% at that time. But now you rarely see a Nokia phone, right? So that's because they didn't keep up with the competition. They didn't check how the data, how the trends are changing. They didn't keep up with the advancements in the technology, which has led to their downfall. Okay, so businesses who are not using the who are not seeing the value in the data, who are not seeing the competition moving ahead by leveraging the data, they'll be left behind और उनका दुकान तो बंद हो ही रहा है. Okay, next is the cost reduction. पहले जो computing power आपको थाउजेंड्स ऑफ डॉलर्स या फिर लाखों रुपए खर्च करके मिलती थी, वो आपको कुछ हजार रुपए में मिलने लग गई है। आपके पास क्लाउड कंप्यूटिंग है, तो यू कैन बेसिकली ओन और रेंट अ सुपर कंप्यूटर इफ यू विल, जिसकी कैपेबिलिटीज आपके लैपटॉप से बहुत ज्यादा हाई रहेंगे। यू विल हैव जीपीयू अवेलेबल, यू जस्ट नेम द हार्डवेयर दैट यू नीड, that hardware will be available on the cloud services these days. You don't even have to step out of your house. आप अपने लैपटॉप से क्लाउड पे कोई भी डिवाइस या फिर कोई भी सर्वर रेंट कर सकते हो। पे एज यू गो उसको बोलते हैं। तो आप जितना चाहिए उतना आप पे कर सकते हो एंड यू यूज दैट सर्विस, राइट? सो कॉस्ट हैज रिड्यूस्ड। देयर आर क्लाउड सर्विसेज, स्टोरेज कॉस्ट रिड्यूस हुई है। पहले आप पेन ड्राइव अगर आपने सुना होगा तो वी आर जस्ट when we were not too long back in 2010s and 2011s, we were passing the pen drives around us कि ये पेन ड्राइव ले लो, इसमें डेटा है। But now we see that we we no longer have pen drives. We store everything in cloud because cloud storage is cheaper. हमारे लैपटॉप्स में भी मेमोरी बहुत रहती है, हमारे फोन्स में भी मेमोरी बहुत रहती है। तो all of this has led to again rise in the data science, because जितना ज्यादा डेटा रहेगा उतना ज्यादा इंफॉर्मेशन रहेगा आपके पास, उतना ज्यादा आप उसके अंदर से इंसाइट्स निकाल सकते हो, राइट? फाइनली एआई एंड ऑटोमेशन। ऑटोमेशन का मतलब होता है एनीथिंग दैट नीड्स अ मैनुअल लेबर विल बी ऑटोमेटेड। आजकल यू विल बी हियरिंग अ लॉट अबाउट कि कैसे ऑटोमेशन हैज बीन रिप्लेसिंग ह्यूमंस by for in doing certain tasks, right? You'll also hear about AI replacing humans in doing certain tasks, right? So because of that particular capabilities that you see around you, machines नए नए डेवलप हो रहे हैं, नए नए AI के मॉडल्स डेवलप हो रहे हैं। That also has given rise to data science as a field in general, right? So overall, these are the main points why you see the rise in data science. I would like to know from you all, what do you guys think? Apart from the points that are listed here, do you guys think that there are more things that could have led to the rise of data science? Anyone? Yes, students? Pramod, Harish, Monica, Ekta, Rohini. What do you guys think? Is there anything else apart from these?
No, sir.
What about education? Ajkal, you'll see students who are not even in 10th standard. You'll see them working on code. You'll see them working on thinking about data. So the data literacy in general has increased right from the early age, right? So that's also one of the reasons, or that's in fact one of the in fact the rise of data science is one of the reasons why that is happening, and it's serving back into the rise of data science again, basically, right? So education is also one of the main reasons again. What else can you think of?
Data science mostly helps in decision making of any businesses.
Correct.
When you are in where the resources are very less, it
Hmm.
help you. It helps to make a decision if, of a business easy.
Right, that's because everything is connected in these days, right? If a business wants to
Yes.
acquire some information or data, everything is connected to internet, and getting information through that connection, through that network, is very easy,
Yes.
right? It may be not cheaper, sometimes you may have to buy data, but it is doable, basically। आप अगर data खरीद भी सकते हो, तो you'll buy that data and use it, but getting access through that network, the rise of internet is also led into rise of data science.
Yes.
Okay, what else?
Yes.
What about others? Sunil, Shivprasad, Rohini, what do you guys think? Anything that you think of in every day?
Hello. Data data source for useful for अपने uh, military military departments as well as मतलब uh, defense area. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
बहुत सारे इंफॉर्मेशन या फिर बहुत सारी चीजें इसमें है. You can still collapse it into a set of uh, what do I call them? So this is again almost the same slide that we saw earlier. Here we are just talking about uh, some examples जो लोग data capture कर रहे हैं. So we have Facebook, we have news channels who are all storing all the information. So news channel know exactly who their end users are now, right? उसके उसके ऊपर वो लोग decide करते हैं कि क्या news दिखानी है, क्या news नहीं दिखानी है. Then we have Facebook who serves you ads. जब आप Facebook पे जाते हो तो आपको ad दिखते हैं. वो ad डिपेंड करते हैं आपके लाइक्स पे, आपके डिसलाइक्स पे, आपके शेयर्स पे, राइट? आपके इंटरैक्शंस पे डिसाइड करते हैं वो सब कुछ. फिर स्टॉक मार्केट में भी बहुत सारा डेटा जनरेट होता है, कैप्चर होता है. कितने लोग अभी कितने शेयर्स अभी भी अवेलेबल है, कितने शेयर्स नहीं अवेलेबल, कितने लोग मार्केट पे लाइव अवेलेबल है. इन एडिशन टू दैट कंपनी के बारे में की इंफॉर्मेशन, और साइज कंपनी की, उनका वैल्यूएशन, उनके बैलेंस शीट, एवरीथिंग इज अवेलेबल इन ऑन द लाइन. Because of that, you can use all of that information. So companies use all of this information to do some targeted marketing. uh, या फिर ऑनलाइन एडवर्टाइजिंग जो आप लोग करते हैं, आप जब गूगल पे कुछ सर्च करते हैं, यू सी सम एड्स ऑन टॉप ऑफ इट बिफोर इवन शोइंग यू द रिजल्ट्स. दे विल शो यू सम एड्स, राइट? अगर मैं कुछ सर्च करता हूँ यहाँ पे बिंग पे, हेलो वर्ल्ड, लेट्स सर्च दिस, राइट? बिफोर इवन शोइंग me the results, they try to show me some ads here, right? So this is an ad, I think. Not this, maybe let me just paint. Before even showing a result, they'll directly push some ads to me. uh, so all of this is happening real time. All of this is happening based on the context, what is the search term, what is the location of the user. Based on that, they're going to first show the ads and then show the results and so on, right? So companies are using that information basically to make our experience better, and that also serves them pretty well. There's also a concept of cross selling. Cross selling का मतलब है कि अगर आप एक कोई प्रोडक्ट खरीदते हो, then that company will also try to sell you another product in addition to that product that you're buying. So for example, अगर आप टेनिस का रैकेट खरीदते हो, तो फिर वो लोग आपको टेनिस के बॉल्स भी बेचने की कोशिश करते हैं. And then in addition to that, maybe they'll try to sell you a membership to a certain gym जहाँ पे टेनिस के कोर्ट्स अवेलेबल है. Things like that. So all of that happens based on what information they're capturing about you. And they have statisticians, have data scientists and modelers and data analysts to make sense of the data that they have. Okay, so that the data can be exploited in a इन अ कॉम्पिटिटिव वे। ऐसे नहीं कि सबको ऐड शेयर कर रहे हैं या फिर सबको ईमेल भेज रहे हैं, सबको ऑफर्स भेज रहे हैं, वैसे कभी नहीं करते वो लोग। टारगेट करते हैं कुछ उनके कस्टमर बेस को और उन्हीं के लिए मार्केटिंग करते हैं वो। ऑलराइट, now that we know companies are storing all your information, here's the list of companies who really know about you. All right, so these are some social media companies: your Facebook, Instagram, Tinder, Grinder, Uber, Strava, Tesco, Spotify. So these are some names of the companies, and here you'll see how much the companies know about you. So as you can see, amount of personal data collected. So these are some personal data informations, जैसे कि email क्या है, age क्या है, फिर gender क्या है, orientation क्या है, sexual orientation, marital status, race, religious belief. All of this is basically a personal information. Okay. अभी ये सारे पर्सनल इंफॉर्मेशन के जब मैं मेट्रिक्स एक साथ देखता हूँ, तो कौन से कंपनीज के पास कितना कितना इंफॉर्मेशन है मेरे बारे में या फिर यूजर्स के बारे में. तो as you can see here pretty clearly, right? There's lot of personal information that these companies have. Facebook, Instagram. So almost 70.59%. So almost 71% of your personal information is there with Facebook. Almost 60% of your personal information is there with Instagram. Or there could be even more. They can even guess your personal information. For example, if you don't tell them maybe your height and weight, then they can also guess that from your posts, or they can also guess that from your network. But it's not too difficult. They might be not accurate, but they might do that, right? So they even know more than what's shown here. Okay, so the idea being कि इतनी सारी इंफॉर्मेशन जब ये कंपनीज स्टोर करते हैं अपने साथ में, obviously they know a lot about us, and they use that in the fashion that they would like to use it, right? They're just leveraging the data to make some informed decisions. फेसबुक क्या करेंगे, उनके जो भी एड्स रहेंगे वो पुश करेंगे, फ्रेंड्स के सजेशंस आपको दिए जाएंगे, आपको सडनली एक दिन नोटिफिकेशन आ जाएगा कि देयर इज सम इवेंट हैपनिंग अराउंड यू, यू शुड बी विजिटिंग, मे बी यू लाइक इट, and we all be thinking, how do they know that I'm interested in this kind of stuff, right? So it's all because they have our data, they have our interactions, they have our network. All right, how many of you know at least half of the list that's given here? So I know many of you know Facebook, Instagram, Tinder is fine. Grinder is another social media network. There's Uber. You all know Uber. Strava is again for fitness, social network, social media network again. Tesco, I'm not sure. Spotify, music के लिए. MyFitnessPal, again similar to Strava. Jet2, when I'm not sure. Credit Karma, this is about the financial information, which is कि आपका क्रेडिट स्कोर कितना है, आपका डेट कितना है आपके पास, आपने लोन कहीं पे निकाला हो क्या, उसकी इन्फॉर्मेशन, ये सारी इन्फॉर्मेशन क्रेडिट कर्मा के पास होती है. लिडल प्लस ये शॉपिंग वेबसाइट है जहाँ पे आप शॉपिंग कर सकते हो, ग्रोसरी की शॉपिंग. ग्रोसरी मतलब वहाँ पे आप दूध बाकी फिर रोज जो आप लोग लेते हैं ग्रोसरीज, वो सारी चीजें आप खरीद सकते हो लिडल से. लिडल इज अ स्टोर. Netflix, again about the movies, about the shows. Nike, we all know Nike Plus. ASOS, I think this is similar to Nike. All right, so these are the companies. Just a few examples. There are more companies, but you get an idea what I'm trying to say, right? Uh, can you think of any companies that are not listed here, but we still use it and they have our information?
Amazon, Flipkart,
Correct. More.
Twitter.
UPI apps, payment apps.
UPI payment apps, right? They can very well know how your spending uh, pattern is, and they can start pushing you ads anytime, for sure.
Google.
Google knows everything about you, right? Even before they know how to list you the results that you're searching for.
So this is bad or good thing that
So it's
these
both good
companies
and
have.
bad, I would say. So for you as a data scientist, the more information it's stored is better for you because that is where the opportunity is. Correct.
But for the safety, for the privacy of an individual.
So all of these companies that are listed here, they obviously tell that the personal information that they are collecting is safe with them. They're not exposing that information to anyone else. If you say that you don't want to show your email address to anyone outside, then the Facebook is not going to show that email address to anyone outside, right? So they try to keep everything, all the privacy settings and everything in place, but still, uh, it's like, would you really share all that personal information with the company, right? So, but you as a data scientist, if as a data analyst, if you think of this, there's an opportunity here. Anywhere you see a data being collected, anywhere you see data being stored and not used, that's a data opportunity for any data analyst or any data scientist, data engineer, or anyone who's into the data field, especially who are who would be helping decisions, helping the businesses make decisions. Right? So I won't say it's a good or bad. That's basically an opinion. If you ask me, in my opinion, it's
From the data scientist view, it's
from a
good.
data scientist view, it's good, but from a end user's view, as you can imagine, right? It's but it also helps us. For example, if I want to go, if I go on Facebook and if I see some irrelevant things on it, will I be really using that app? No, right? And in fact, I'll be thinking, why are they showing me these things which are not relevant to me, which I don't like, and I will not spend my time there, right? So that's how your bubble is created, right? You must have heard about that term a lot in these days, that your social media bubble, go out of the bubble, go move out of the bubble, and things like. In fact, Twitter is trying to do that. So they have a setting where you can delete all your historical data and you move out of your bubble and then you can start afresh. I think that setting is there in Twitter. They also have some other settings such as you want to see information or you want to see posts only from people who you follow. So they have two tabs now. One is general and second one is the ones to whom you follow. Only those posts will be presented to you. So I think some companies are working around it. Some companies are still trying to leverage the data. Uh, but nevertheless, it is also helping the users, I would say. For example, जब मैं Google पे जाता हूँ, the Google searches have become better and better. Earlier in the day, Google searches were not that good, but now they are very precise. If you search something, most likely the answer is going to be present in the first page. आपको second page, third page पे जाने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी. In 2010s and 2009s and 11s, I remember कि if I search something on Google, मुझे second page पे जाके third page पे जाके answer मिलता था कभी कभी. Okay, so that's an improvement, I'd say. All right, so good examples, everyone. Uh, any questions till now? So this is fairly simple things that we are discussing. We are not touched any of the complex or technical stuff yet. So any questions till here? Yes, no. Everyone is able to follow.
Yes, sir.
All right, great. Okay, so this is the first topic which you will see sometimes in interview too. So there are various types of analytics that will be done in a company or in an organization. Okay, so the very first type is called as descriptive analytics. Descriptive analytics मतलब what happened, क्या हुआ है, उसके बारे में की information. That is the descriptive analytics. This happens in hindsight. मतलब ये historical data को देखकर दे बोलना कि क्या हुआ है. For example, how much has a stock appreciated? Apple का stock in last 1 year, how much has it appreciated? Is it appreciated? So I think it has appreciated around 50 or 70 percentage in last 1 year. Uh, Similarly, how much has what is the um, what is the room temperature right now, right? So that is also something which is describing something which has happened or which is present right now, right? So अभी से लेके हिस्ट्री में जितनी भी चीजें हुई है उन सब का एनालिसिस करना या फिर उन सब के बारे में एनालिटिक्स के रिपोर्ट्स बनाना, that is called as descriptive analytics. Okay. Second is the diagnostic analytics. So just to give you another example, जो हमने सबसे पहला एग्जांपल देखा थोड़ी देर पहले, जो रोज डायग्राम बोलते हैं उसको, नाइटिंगेल रोज डायग्राम जो हमने देखा यहाँ पर, सो दिस इज डिस्क्रिप्टिव एनालिटिक्स. उन्होंने डेटा कलेक्ट किया, डेटा कलेक्ट करने के बाद में उन्होंने कुछ डेटा को डिस्क्राइब किया, ऑब्वियसली उन्होंने डायग्राम्स बना के डेटा को डिस्क्राइब किया यहाँ पे. सो दिस इज डिस्क्रिप्टिव एनालिटिक्स. सो जो हिस्ट्री में हुआ है उसके बारे में उन्होंने बस रिपोर्ट किया उसको. सो दिस इज डिस्क्रिप्टिव एनालिटिक्स. नेक्स्ट इज डायग्नोस्टिक. डायग्नोस्टिक का मतलब होता है कि कोई चीज क्यों हुई है, व्हाई हैज दिस हैपेंड, trying to understand the why behind something. Okay, taking the same example, why has the stock of Apple increased so much in last 1 year? So there could be many reasons behind it. So trying to pursue those questions, why has this happened, comes under diagnostic analytics. Maybe the company has been posting a lot of profits, the revenue has increased, they have introduced a new product in the market, so things like that. So why has this happened? As you can see here on this chart, एक्स एक्सिस पे आपको दिखेगा डिफिकल्टी क्या है, राइट? हाउ डिफिकल्ट इज डूइंग समथिंग, how much value does that bring, value to the business, right? So this first thing which is descriptive analytics, obviously it is not too difficult. Charts बनाना, data आपके पास आजकल already available होता है. In fact most of you have already created some charts. I think आपने charts अगर create नहीं किए होंगे तो आपने बनाया देखे तो होंगे ही charts अभी तक, right? So that all comes under descriptive analytics, but that brings value but not so much. When you go one step ahead and do diagnostic, this is where the value increases, but the difficulty of this also increases, because if you try to point out कि ये क्यों हुआ है, then there are n number of moving parts. आपको सारे moving parts list down कर भी नहीं सकते आप, correct? एग्जाम्पल की वो अभी हमने थोड़ी देर पहले स्टॉक का एग्जाम्पल लिया, द राइज इन स्टॉक मार्केट ऑफ राइज इन द स्टॉक प्राइस ऑफ एप्पल. Although we can list all the possible examples, yet कोई ना कोई ऐसा रीजन रह जाएगा because of which the stock price might have increased, and you miss that. So that's why it is difficult to list down all the reasons. In that sense, this is more difficult than what has happened. You can just tell the facts, but you cannot tell why that facts have happened. So that comes under diagnostic analytics. Next is what will happen. This is also called as inference. मतलब क्या क्यों हुआ है, क्या हुआ है, क्यों हुआ है और क्या होने वाला है वो प्रेडिक्ट करना. मतलब एप्पल का स्टॉक का प्राइस कल परसों नेक्स्ट ईयर कितना होने वाला है उसको प्रेडिक्ट करना, एंड दैट कम्स अंडर प्रेडिक्टिव एनालिसिस. And this is where you'll see the meat of data science. This is what you're going to learn. Obviously you'll learn about descriptive, you learn about diagnostic, but this is the main thing that you're going to learn. Predictive analytics. Prediction करते कैसे? How do you predict something will happen or not? How do you predict the house price? How do you predict if a certain customer is going to buy or not? How do you predict if a certain transaction is a fraud transaction or not a fraud transaction? How do you predict एक टेक्स्ट आपको दिया जाएगा, वो टेक्स्ट, is it a toxic text, is it a non-toxic text? How do you predict all that? So that comes under predictive analytics. Check here. Give me a second. So that comes under predictive analytics. And finally, how can we make something happen? मतलब चलो अभी हमें समझ गया प्रेडिक्शंस ये सही है कि प्रेडिक्शंस ये होने वाले हैं, मे बी स्टॉक का प्राइस इतना बढ़ने वाला है, इस हाउस का प्राइस इतना हो सकता है, दैट आर ऑल प्रेडिक्शंस. बट only this much is not enough. I want to make something happen. If I want to, instead of increasing the stock price by 20%, how do I make it increase by 50%? What are the steps I need to take? So when I say I'm assuming that I have the power to do those things to make those changes, right? So me as a company, if I have the power, maybe I'll start introducing more products. So that's one of the prescriptions. आप लोग डॉक्टर के पास जब जाते हैं, you must have heard a lot about prescription. Doctor will give you prescription. So what doctor is basically giving you is he's giving you medicine to make something happen, to make you better, to make your disease go away. So that is what the prescriptive analytics is. That is what the prescriptive analytics is. And this is also a major part for data science. आप लोग डिस्क्रिप्टिव एनालिटिक्स करोगे, आप लोग डायग्नोस्टिक करोगे, आप लोग प्रेडिक्टिव करोगे, लेकिन उसके बाद में आपको बताना है कंपनी को या फिर आपके मैनेजमेंट को बताना है कि आपको ये क्या करना है एग्जैक्टली, एंड दैट कम्स अंडर प्रिस्क्रिप्टिव एंड विल लर्न दैट टू. As you can see here, the most difficult of all these different analytics is the prescriptive analytics, but it also brings a lot of value. This is like having knowing, this is like knowing the future, and this is like changing the future. Okay, although it feels very powerful, uh, and it's also very difficult to actually achieve, but there are some companies who do this, and they have been doing this better also. For example, Netflix पे आप जो देखते हो कि you see that if you are logging in, आप लोगों को जो लिस्ट दिखाई जाती है मूवीज की या फिर शोज की, वो अलग रहेगी as compared to someone who is watching it from England, or as compared to someone who is watching it from maybe US. Okay, and that all depends on many things. Abhi, here the only thing that has changed is the geography, but if other things also changes कि age change हो रहा है, फिर आपका likes and dislikes change हो रहे हैं, उसके हिसाब से आपकी list भी change होते जाती है. Now if Netflix suddenly wants to start push a certain movie, उनको ये movie का rate बढ़ाना है या फिर उनको ये movie ज्यादा लोगों को push करनी है, so they'll make it happen. How do they make it happen? First they'll see the prediction ki who are most likely to watch that movie, and then they'll start pushing that movie to those people who are most likely to watch it, and they're making that movie watchable by pushing it up in your ranking list, by pushing you up in your feed, right? So it is done in many places. It is done, in fact, you won't even realize that it is being done with you when you are on social media or anywhere else. All right, so any questions on this one? Different types of analytics. You'll usually see a interview question about, okay, or they'll be giving you some examples, maybe a few statements. They'll ask you, key, what type of analytics is this? Is it descriptive? Is it diagnostic? Is it predictive? Or is it prescriptive? Okay. So any questions on this?
No, sir.
All right. So one by one, just give me an example. Firstly, of the descriptive analytics. Who would go? कौन बताएगा पहले? Descriptive analytics का एक example दे दो मुझे.
Hello,
Yes, I'm able to hear you.
sir. Financial reports.
Financial report, correct. Prescriptive analytics, good. Could you be more specific? Financial report में क्या? Balance sheet, या फिर what exactly in the financial report? Income
Estimated
statement.
sales.
Now when you say estimated, estimate का मतलब क्या होता है? You are estimating.
Predicting.
Estimating का
Okay.
मतलब क्या है? Prediction कर रहे हो आप, right? So that is not descriptive. We want descriptive. तो income
Past
statement
sales.
आपका, correct. Past sales, last year के sales कितने थे? That is something which is descriptive again. Scoreboard of a cricket match,
Yes.
करेक्ट. you'll see a scoreboard जहाँ पे आपको प्लेयर्स की लिस्ट दिखेगी, ओके ये इतना इतना आउट हुआ, इतना इतना रन बनाया, फिर इसने इतने इतने बॉल डाले, इतने इतने ओवर डाले. ऑल ऑफ दैट इज डिस्क्रिप्टिव, राइट? सो we see descriptive all around us many a times, but we don't realize कि उसको descriptive बोलते हैं, right? So that basically is what has happened. Let me admit a few people here. Next is the diagnostic. Why has something happened? What could be a reason of that? Or can you give me an example of diagnostic? In fact, हमने जब सेशन शुरू किया तब हमने जो एग्जांपल या फिर तब जो हमने स्टोरी पढ़ी थी उस स्टोरी में उन्होंने बताया था कि उन्होंने क्या डायग्नोस किया और उन्होंने क्या चेंज किया. व्हाट वाज दैट स्टोरी?
प्रिवेंटिव डिजीजेस में
करेक्ट,
उन्होंने क्लीनलीनेस मेंटेन की.
करेक्ट, करेक्ट. सो व्हाट शी
हाइजीन वाला.
डायग्नोस्ड वाज यहाँ पे इतने सारे डेथ्स हो रहे हैं. दीज आर प्रिवेंटिव डेथ्स. ओके, व्हाई आर दे हैपनिंग? बिकॉज ऑफ लैक ऑफ सैनिटेशन, राइट? So
Yes.
why has something happened? Why are the preventive deaths so high? That is because lack of sanitation. Okay. All right. Now, more examples. Just maybe a couple of other examples. What about others? Pawan, Pramod, Pratik, Monica, Akshay, Anita, Ashmita. Come on, guys. Speak up.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, descriptive analysis can be example of demand trends today.
Demand trend. Trend as in historical trends, right?
Yeah, it can be used to identify the trend in customer preference and behaviors.
Correct. Historical trend again.
That is the
Yes.
example of demand descriptive analytics. Yeah.
Correct. You're right. And what about an example of diagnostic? Why has something happened? So we are trying to understand reason. ये चीज जो हो गई है वो ठीक है. Okay, this has happened, fine. But why has this happened? So that comes under diagnostic. What could that example be?
Sir, can we consider feedback in it?
Yes.
Feedback can be an example of diagnostic analysis, right?
Feedback about the event that has happened, right? So you say that, can you give an example of one such feedback?
If a finance company make 1 crore a year, right? And the next year it makes only 50 lakhs, then we can find at least the reason why it happened or why the sales decreased
Correct.
after 1
That's
year. We can find it from the feedback.
right. So why has something happened? So what has happened? The sales have increased from 1 to 50, and we want to know why has that happened. So that goes under diagnostic analytics, and that is also part of data science again. All right. Predictive analytics. So there are many examples that you see around your predictive analytics. What will happen? क्या होने वाला है? Weather report, predictive analytics, right? If it's going to rain tomorrow or not. Although they are not very accurate, but they do a pretty decent job, right? What more? उसके अलावा और क्या? You always seeing the IPL games, right? वहाँ पे prediction meter आता था. What is the win percentage? What is the loss percentage of a certain team? So that is also predictive analytics. What else? Predicted scores. This team at this current run rate, they'll be scoring this much. Predicted scores. Correct. What else?
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, prediction of means next movies. If we see comedy movie for now, then the Hotstar or Netflix will suggest a next comedy movie to us.
Correct. So that's also prediction. Example of a prediction that according to Z or according to Hotstar, this is the movie that you might like. Although you have not watched it, this is what you might like. So this is what will happen, or this is what you will be watching next. So that's why we are suggesting you this. Correct. So that's an example of predictive analytics. More examples, anyone?
So analyzing customers' buying behavior can help predictive.
So only analyzing the buying behavior is under descriptive. You are analyzing, right? You're seeing what has happened. क्या हुआ है? उनका buying behavior आप study कर रहे हो. So that goes under descriptive. But if you want to predict the buying behavior, example Amazon पे आप ये देखोगे suggestions कुछ, right? So that suggestions are based on what is the behavior that you're going to make. Are you going to buy that product? Are you going to not buy the product, right? So only analyzing or only looking at the data and understanding the data will go under descriptive. But if you want to predict something, then that will be the predictive analytics. But good example.
Sir, can we predict? Can we? Obviously.
Can we predict? Sorry, your voice broke off.
सॉरी आई वांटेड टू से कि जैसे हम लोगों ने प्रिडिक्टिव एनालिटिक्स के एग्जांपल्स देखे उसके बेसिस के ऊपर ही तो हम प्रिडिक्टिव एनालिटिक्स के एग्जांपल ले सकते हैं ना वी कैन टेक फ्रॉम द डिस्क्रिप्टिव एनालिटिक्स एग्जांपल्स राइट
Correct.
बिकॉज वॉट एवर वी हैव फ्रॉम द पास्ट वी कैन करेक्ट इट इन द फ्यूचर मान लीजिए एक स्कूल के अंदर से 12 या 13 लोग आईआईटी में जाते हैं तो उस स्कूल का नाम हो जाता है तो अगर स्कूल को अपनी मार्केटिंग करनी है तो वो उन 12-13 का नाम लेंगे तो प्रिडिक्ट कर सकते हैं कि पिछली बार 12-13 गए थे इस बार अगर ज्यादा लोग आएंगे मे बी अगर उन लोगों में से कोई एक्स्ट्रा ऑर्डिनरी स्टूडेंट है तो और भी ज्यादा लोग आईआईटी के अंदर हमारी स्कूल से जाएंगे या फिर हम हमारा ही ले लें
Right.
तो अगर कूपन से कोई 10 बच्चे हैं जिनका 20-20 लाख पैकेज जा रहा है तो वी कैन टेक देयर नेम ना कि ये हमारे पिछले साल के स्टूडेंट्स हैं इनका इतना इतना पैकेज लगा था यू कैन कम हियर क्योंकि अगर और 40 लोग भी आते हैं तो देयर आर सम चांसेस ना 10 से 15 लोग ऐसे एक्स्ट्रा ऑर्डिनरी निकल सकते हैं या फिर 10 लोग भी एक्स्ट्रा ऑर्डिनरी निकल सकते हैं जिनका और 20 से 25 लाख रुपए तक का पैकेज आ सकता है तो इट
Correct.
It is
Correct. So
justified,
that
I
also
think.
comes under prediction. So prediction is something which has not happened yet, but is most likely to happen. So good example that also comes under this predictive analytics. You're right.
The airlines are a good example because they predict their tickets
Correct. So
Ticket
based
range
they predict the.
and
You're right. You're right. hmm could you please
and
elaborate on
hotels.
that? Yes, you're right. How do they price up or price down their tickets or price up or price down the hotel prices? What do they factor in for? वो लोग क्या देखकर prices बढ़ाते और कम करते हैं?
See, customer demand, customer occupancy.
Correct. So customer demand. So usually you'll see कि ये सारी चीजें seasonal होती है, right? So seasonal means every summer you'll see the prices going up of airlines, and then in maybe winter the prices are going down because not many people are traveling. If there is a new holiday coming up, then the prices are again going up. Correct? Things like that. So something has not yet happened, but that they are able to predict it. That this many people are going to have come in. So if we increase our prices, we are going to make good profits. All right. So that's the good examples of predictive. What about prescriptive now? Can you give examples of prescriptive? How can we make it happen? So that is what the prescriptive analytics mean. How can we make something happen? Doctors give you prescriptions.
depends upon descriptive analytic examples and predictive analytic examples. We can move further towards prescriptive analytic example as I will consider it as a search engine. जो कोई भी इंसान होता है जो गूगल के ऊपर सर्च करता रहता है एक एक चीज को बार 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 अच्छे से अच्छे कीवर्ड्स के साथ उसको हम प्रिस्क्रिप्टिव एनालिटिक्स का एग्जांपल सर्च कर सकते हैं जैसे कि मैं खुद डेटा साइंटिस्ट डेटा एनालिटिक्स का कोर्स ढूंढते 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 अब इंस्टाग्राम गूगल और फेसबुक हर जगह पे अगर मुझे एडवर्टाइजमेंट आएंगे तो डेटा साइंस के जो कीवर्ड्स होंगे उसके रिलेटेड ही आएंगे सो दैट दे कैन मेक इट हैपन ना कि मैं जो हूँ अश्मिता बार बार ये बंदी जो है इस ईमेल आईडी से बार बार यही चीज जो है वो सर्च करे जा रही है तो मेरी ईमेल आईडी जहाँ जहाँ होगी वो लोग उसको अपना प्रोडक्ट को सेल करने के लिए मुझे बार बार एक ही चीज की ऐड देते जाएंगे तो चांसेस आर ग्रेट ना कि मैं किसी एक प्लेटफॉर्म को चूज कर लूँ एंड आई कैन बाय इट
Correct. So they want to make something happen. They want to make you buy a certain advertisement, or they want to make you buy a certain product. And how do they do that? Firstly, they check your patterns, and based on your patterns, they decide that they're going to prescribe you this course, or they're going to prescribe you certain results. That's right. So how can we make it happen? We make it happen by pushing the same ad again and again to the same person. What else? uh, let's go away from data science and think of something in a real life. In a real life, have we ever given any prescriptive or thought of any prescriptive analytics that we did?
It could be stock
Sir,
market
in
prediction.
Stock market prediction, right? So when you say prediction, that goes under predictive analytics itself.
Sir, in real life, we can consider Domino's. When we go in Domino's, they take our phone number or
Mhm.
and our name. So whenever we eat and come back to our home, within 2 or 3 hours, they give us the notification for another offers they are having.
Mhm.
Some type of offer code or some type of 2 to 3 digit codes that you can apply this code and you can get the offers to avail.
Mhm.
There is also prescriptive analytics, right? जब हम लोग खा
Right.
पी के
So
आ
they
जाते हैं घर पे,
they are
हमें दो दो
yes.
तीन घंटे के, हाँ, हम
So
लोग
they
दो दो तीन
firstly
तीन घंटे के
predict
अंदर ही
करते हैं वो
प्रोटीन
लोग
आ
आप
जाते हैं.
करेक्ट.
Yes.
तो सबसे पहले क्या हुआ, यहाँ पे प्रेडिक्शन हुआ कि आप ये ऑफर को एक्सेप्ट करोगे या नहीं करोगे. ठीक है, उसके बाद में आपको प्रिस्क्राइब किया गया वो ऑफर. One more example, which is away from data science and away from tech and away from everything. We usually give advices to our friends, right? So आप अपने फैमिली में, आपके फ्रेंड्स में, अगर आपके कोई छोटे भाई होंगे, बहन होंगे, उनको आप यूजुअली एडवाइस देते हो, right? And that advice is to make something happen. It is to make him or her a better person. It is to make him or her a better student, or is it to it is to make something happen. That something is usually a good thing, right? So those advices that we give and those talks that we have with our friends and family are also kind of a prescriptive analytics, correct? So we usually tell कि आप ये करो, ये हो जाएगा आपका. Okay? So that also comes under prescriptive analytics, although we are talking from our experience. So here our experience is our data, right? Simply आप experience को replace कर दो data के साथ में, you have the prescriptive analytics for data science. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Great. All right, let's move on to the next topic now. So yeah, good job everyone. You think we can move on to the next one. तो यहाँ पर जो हमने थोड़ी देर पहले 4 टाइप्स के एनालिटिक्स देखे, उनको थोड़ा जब हम जूम इन करते हैं, ओके, तब थोड़ा डिटेल में जब हम लोग देखते हैं तो व्हाट एग्जैक्टली टूल्स होते हैं, या फिर व्हाट एग्जैक्टली कोई कोई प्लेटफॉर्म्स होते हैं जो एक एक चीज करने के लिए काम में आते हैं, उनके बारे में थोड़ा सा देखते हैं. ठीक है, obviously this is not in depth, but we'll see what exactly is this. ठीक है, सबसे पहले what happened is descriptive, right? So what has happened is descriptive. ये जो पहले 4 सर्कल से, this all comes under descriptive. आपके पास डेटा जो रॉ है, that is descriptive. आपने डेटा को क्लीन किया, उसके अंदर से इनवैलिड वैल्यूज निकाल दिए, उसके अंदर से मिसिंग वैल्यूज निकाल दिए, वो भी is something what has happened. So that also comes under descriptive. Okay, all the way until reporting. रिपोर्टिंग का मतलब वो कितना होता है कि डैशबोर्ड. सो फॉर एग्जांपल, लेट्स क्रिएट अ डैशबोर्ड हियर. ओके, व्हेन मैं सर्च समथिंग ऑन डैशबोर्ड, इमेजेस में देखता हूँ, राइट? सो यहाँ पर क्या हो रहा है, एक डैशबोर्ड दिखाया जा रहा है कि लास्ट 7 डेज में कितने लोगों ने साइन अप किया है, रेवेन्यू कितना जनरेट हुआ है, कितने विजिटर आए मेरे वेबसाइट पे, रेवेन्यू कितना है हर एक सोर्स से. सो दिस इज अ डिस्क्रिप्टिव डैशबोर्ड. ओके, दिस इज अ डिस्क्रिप्टिव डैशबोर्ड. यहाँ पर कहीं पर भी प्रेडिक्शंस नहीं है, क्या हुआ है उसी के बारे में इंफॉर्मेशन दी गई है. सो ऑल ऑफ दैट इज स्टिल हियर. ad hoc reports, OLAP and everything. Okay, before this is all, ये सारे टूल्स या फिर ये सारे चीजें जो भी आपको दिख रहे हैं लेफ्ट साइड में, हम लोग जब डेटा साइंस के प्रोसेस पढ़ेंगे तब हमें बताया जाएगा कि EDA इज समथिंग कॉल्ड एज एक्सप्लोरेटरी डेटा एनालिसिस. उसमें हम लोग ये सारी चीजें करते हैं, रॉ डेटा लेते हैं, डेटा को क्लीन करते हैं, रिपोर्ट्स बनाते हैं, मिसिंग डेटा चेक करते हैं, वो सब कुछ आता है EDA के अंदर. दैट इज डिस्क्रिप्टिव एनालिटिक्स. टैब्लू के रिपोर्ट्स बनाते हैं, दैट इज अगेन डिस्क्रिप्टिव एनालिटिक्स. Okay, we are going to learn how to create Tableau descriptions and all. We are also going to learn how to create Python visualizations. when we see why did something happen. Okay, uh, Tableau can also be used to this to try to point out some reasons, but this also needs more विजुअलाइजेशन या फिर कोई सेल्फ सर्व टूल्स. सेल्फ सर्व टूल्स मतलब ड्रैग एंड ड्रॉप के विजुअलाइजेशन टूल्स जो होते हैं यूजुअली उनको सेल्फ सर्विस बीआई टूल्स बोलते हैं. दैट विल हेल्प यू इन डायग्नोस्टिक एनालिसिस. ओके, मूविंग ऑन. ये जो आपका ब्लू कलर का बॉक्स दिख रहा है, दिस इज ऑल द कोर ऑफ डेटा साइंस. Obviously, we are going to study about this part too, but this is the core of data science. This is what the meat of data science is. यहाँ पे सबसे ज्यादा वैल्यू भी होती है और यहाँ पे सबसे ज्यादा कॉम्प्लेक्स चीजें और फिर इंटरेस्टिंग चीजें करने के लिए मिलती है आपको. ठीक है, सबसे पहला व्हाट विल हैपन, प्रेडिक्ट करो. प्रेडिक्शन करना है हमें, राइट. सो प्रेडिक्शन के लिए हम लोग मशीन लर्निंग मॉडल्स बिल्ड करेंगे. तो उसके लिए पाइथन पढ़ेंगे हम लोग, उसके लिए कुछ अलग अलग लाइब्रेरीज पढ़ेंगे, एंड दैट ऑल गोज अंडर प्रेडिक्शन, प्रेडिक्टिव एनालिटिक्स. व्हाट विल हैपन. नेक्स्ट, प्रिस्क्रिप्टिव अगेन इज पार्ट ऑफ द सेम प्लेटफॉर्म. पाइथन से आप लोग ये भी करोगे, प्रिस्क्रिप्टिव एनालिटिक्स भी. इन एडिशन टू दिस you will also use some other techniques. Okay, prescriptive के लिए वो भी Python में ही रहेंगे mostly. If required, we might go out of Python and use some other libraries, but for now you can imagine that this is again Python. Finally, जब आप prescriptive analytics भी कर देते हो, you can move on to an autonomous system. अभी ये जो पूरा flow है, इसका हम लोग example देखते हैं. Imagine ChatGPT. ठीक है, ChatGPT एक एग्जाम्पल है, सब लोगों को पता है क्या है वो. It's just a tool जो आपको prompt generate करके देता है. It's a text generation algorithm or it's a large language model जो text generate करके दे सकता है. You ask it a question, it will give you an answer, and that answer basically is by using the generation method, text generation method, right? तो उसमें ये सारे स्टेप्स हो गए. उसमें डेटा, रॉ डेटा लिया गया. रॉ डेटा मतलब क्या है, इंटरनेट में जितना भी डेटा अवेलेबल, दैट इज रॉ डेटा. उस डेटा को क्लीन किया गया, उसके ऊपर थोड़ा सा एनालिसिस किया गया, उसके बाद में प्रेडिक्टिव मॉडल्स बिल्ड किए, फिर प्रिस्क्रिप्टिव मॉडल्स बिल्ड किए. उसके बाद में उन्होंने जब उसको डिप्लॉय किया ऑटोनॉमस के लिए, सो दिस ऑटोनॉमस सिस्टम इज बेसिकली सर्विंग यू results from the steps that were happened earlier. Okay, abhi once this is deployed and when this is made autonomous, you no longer have to do any of the steps, or all of these steps are like a black box. इनके बारे में आपको पता नहीं है. All you know is about this autonomous system now, and this is what we, or a data scientist or a machine learning engineer, wants to achieve from his analysis, from his project. Once you have an autonomous report or autonomous system generated, that is the end goal for any data science project that we see around us. Okay, obviously feedback होते हैं यहाँ पर. You go back and maybe have more feedback loops, changes होते रहते हैं बहुत बार, but the end goal is this: create something autonomous जहाँ पे सबसे कम human interaction हो, and yet you get the results out. Okay, so 4 types of analytics and how they map back to the different tools or the platforms that we are going to learn here. I hope everyone's able to understand this. Let's check here. What are the notes? People are still joining. That's fine. Okay. Now that we know about these capabilities, about these different type of tools, let's just take an example. Let's just move on and try to understand what data science is, and what machine learning is, and what data mining is. In differences kya hai, okay? This is maybe a definition. You don't have to remember definitions in this course. You don't have to remember formulas and so on. We'll try to make things more understandable ताकि आपको remember करने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी. It will happen like a second nature to you. But this is one of the places where you may have to remember things. But it's fine if you don't even remember this. आप जैसे जैसे कोर्स में आगे बढ़ते जाओगे वैसे वैसे चीजें ज्यादा समझ में आएगी, and you'll don't even have to remember this. Okay. So data science by definition is nothing but a set of principles and concepts जो आपको डेटा एनालाइज करने में और स्ट्रक्चर्ड थिंकिंग करने में हेल्प करता है। ओके जैसे कि आप अगर चेस खेलने जाते हो तो आपको सेट ऑफ टेक्निक्स या फिर सेट ऑफ इंस्ट्रक्शंस दिए जाते हैं हाउ टू प्ले द चेस। Similarly, data science is nothing but, or the data man is nothing but a set of principles or concepts या फिर टेक्निक्स जो आपको पढ़ाए जाएंगे ताकि आप डेटा को एनालाइज कर सको और एक स्ट्रक्चर्ड थिंकिंग रख सको डेटा की तरफ। दैट इज व्हाट डेटा साइंस इज। एंड हाउ डू यू डू दैट? That is what we are going to learn in this particular data science course. Okay, so we are going to learn about the set of principles, we are going to learn about the techniques, we are going to learn about the concepts. The end goal again is to extract useful information and knowledge from the enormous amount of data that we have. बहुत ज्यादा डेटा है हमारे पास, इसके अंदर से हमें इंफॉर्मेशन एक्सट्रैक्ट करनी है, नॉलेज एक्सट्रैक्ट करनी है। और ऐसे नहीं कि हम लोग सालों लगा रहे हैं एक्सट्रैक्ट करने के लिए। नॉट दैट, वी हैव टू हैव सम रीजनेबल एंड वेल डिफाइंड स्टेप्स जो ऑलरेडी है इन प्लेस। एक जिस तरह से आपको अगर कुछ चीज बनानी होती है, तो जब कुछ पकाते हो तो उसका एक रेसिपी होता है, राइट? एक स्टेप्स होते हैं। आप पहले कुछ चीज गर्म करते हो या फिर गैस ऑन करते हो, ऑल ऑफ दैट हैपेंस इन इन डिफाइंड स्टेप्स। उसी तरह से डेटा साइंस भी एक डिफाइंड स्टेप्स है। इट्स नॉट लाइक कि आप रैंडमली कुछ भी पिकअप कर लोगे और कुछ भी एनालाइज करना शुरू कर देंगे, वैसे नहीं होगा। सेट ऑफ रूल्स एंड सेट ऑफ स्टेप्स फॉलो करोगे एज मच एज पॉसिबल। उसके बाद में दैट बिकम्स अ सेकंड नेचर टू यू। उसके बाद में यू डोंट हैव टू रिमेंबर कि इसके बाद में ये करना होता है, इसके बाद में ये करना होता है। यू विल ऑटोमेटिकली स्टार्ट डूइंग दैट बिकॉज आपको आदत हो जाएगी द मोर यू डू दैट। ओके, again finally it also changes the way you think about the data and the business. तो पहले रोल और द डेटा साइंटिस्ट रोल इज टू अंडरस्टैंड द बिजनेस। बिजनेस को क्या चाहिए एग्जैक्टली? दे वांट टू इंक्रीज द कस्टमर साइज। मतलब once they know that they want to increase the customer size, then they go back to the data scientist and ask, I want to do this particular thing. तो मुझे क्या करना चाहिए? Then the data scientist says, okay, if you want to do that, let me go back and check the data and try to see if there's something in the customer patterns that can be utilized to tell you कि कैसे increase करते हैं customer size. ठीक है? So you start with the business idea and then you go back to the data and try to get the answer to that. Always. So these are some learning goals. So obviously we'll start with the business problem. We'll try to understand the business problem as much as possible ताकि आप सब लोग को आदत हो जाए डेटा साइंस वर्ड्स को यूज करने की। थोड़ा सा लैंग्वेज अलग रहेगा डेटा साइंस का, वो थोड़े से वोकेबलरी नहीं रहेंगे आप सबके लिए, बट जैसे जैसे आप यूज करते जाओगे वैसे वैसे आपको उसकी आदत हो जाएगी। एंड विल हैव लॉट्स ऑफ हैंड्स ऑन एक्सपीरियंस। आपको असाइनमेंट्स दिए जाएंगे जहाँ पे आपको कोडिंग का एक्सपीरियंस आएगा, जहाँ पे आपको प्रोजेक्ट्स का एक्सपीरियंस आएगा। आई विल बी आल्सो शेयरिंग सैम्पल सॉल्यूशंस, सो आई गॉट योर बैक ऑन दैट। All right, let's just quickly see an example now. I hope everything was clear till here. Any questions? Anyone wants to take a break, maybe drink some water, and then we can continue? Or we are good to continue?
We are good to continue, sir.
All right, great. So let's start. Let's do this interesting example. So there's an actual report here, which is going to be at this particular location. I'm going to share this with you. So this is the story of Walmart from 2004. Okay. The Walmart is one of the big stores in the US. और जैसे अपने यहाँ पे फ्लिपकार्ट होता है, सॉरी नॉट फ्लिपकार्ट, जैसे हमारे यहाँ पे रिलायंस मार्ट, ये सारे डी मार्ट होता है, वैसे ये यूएस में वॉलमार्ट होता है। ओके, बट द वेरी बिग, ह्यूज, बहुत बड़े बड़े होते हैं वो, और उनके दुकान में सारी चीजें मिलती हैं। सम वॉलमार्ट्स आर इवन large. They sometimes are in like 4 to 5 acres land and so on, so they're very huge. Okay, so this is the story from 2004. In fact, this is one of the main examples of a company using data science, of an enterprise company, a $1 billion company using data science. Okay, so in 2004, there was a hurricane. Hurricane मतलब the storm, जो hurricane आप सबको पता ही होगा, समुद्र में आता है, ठीक है. So that hurricane Francis was about to hit the east coast. तो यहाँ पर एक मैप दिखाया जाएगा. तो this map is basically telling you how that hurricane is going to come on the land here. Okay. And when this hurricane was going to hit, the CIO of Walmart said there was a similar hurricane, Hurricane Charlie, which had hit several weeks before. कुछ 10-12 वीक्स पहले एक सिमिलर हरिकेन आया था चार्ली नाम का. तो तब हमने कुछ डेटा कैप्चर किया है. ओके, एंड दैट डेटा इज नॉट अबाउट हरिकेन. हमने हरिकेन का स्पीड, हरिकेन का कितने तेजी से आ रहा है, वो सब कैप्चर नहीं किया. हमने हमारा डेटा कैप्चर किया है. कौन सा? हमारा जब हरिकेन्स हिट होते हैं तब लोग क्या खरीदते हैं एक्चुअली. ओके, and using that, can we predict what is going to happen during the Hurricane Francis? And if we can predict that, we can start sending those materials before the hurricane hits, right? So it was predicted to hit maybe in a couple of days, and that's when the team in the Walmart came together to start predicting what will happen in terms of what people are going to buy. अभी यूजुअली जब हरिकेन आता है तब क्या होता है, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी चला जाता है, you'll not have enough drinking water. So these are some common things that they thought would be useful. Flashlights लगेंगे लोगों को, बैटरीज लगेंगे, पानी लगेगा पीने का, कुछ खाने के लिए चीजें लगेंगे. ओके, but when they saw the results from the Hurricane Charles, they found out कि people were buying pop tarts. ओके, पॉप टार्ट्स का मतलब होता है ऐसे बिस्किट, फ्लफी बिस्किट्स होते हैं जो जिनका सेल 7 times इंक्रीज हो रहा है. when something like this happens 7 times, okay, 7 times is a big number. If agar ek din mein you are selling thousands of those, then when the hurricane hits you are selling 7,000 of those, right? So things like that, they try to mine the data and understood that it is not just the flashlights. सिर्फ flashlights, पीने का पानी या फिर कुछ खाने की चीजें इतने ही नहीं जा रहे हैं. There are other things too. And as soon as they found out there are other things too, they started sending those other things to the Walmart which are present in these areas, right? So that they can they can make an advance, they can basically sell more product during that time and not run into maybe the not having enough things in the Walmart. Okay, so that's a very good example, and Walmart has done that in 2004. That's why Walmart is still in business and it's one of the biggest businesses in the US. So they use data-driven technology a lot. उनके पास बहुत सारे data scientists हैं, उनके पास बहुत सारे data analysts हैं, and they still do this. They still try to understand what are the customer like and what is the customer going to do next. And even in such events, they are able to do it, right? So again, just pointing it out here, 7 times the जो normal rate रहता था उससे 7 times ज़्यादा pop tarts sell हो रहे थे तब. And उन्होंने फिर, and even the second top selling was the beer in during that time. So they also started sending beer in that particular region. So जो trucks कुछ और लेके जाने वाले थे, they were now filled with pop tarts and beers and maybe other things which were top sellers during the hurricane season. And by doing that, they were able to increase their efficiency and also the operations. उनको भी पता चल गया कि ये चीजें लगने वाली हैं, तो फिर they didn't think of filling their store with something which is not important. Maybe they didn't उन्होंने वहाँ पे crayons नहीं भेजे, उन्होंने वहाँ पे pencils नहीं भेजे, उन्होंने वहाँ पे जो चीजें बिकने वाली वही भेजे. It feels very obvious, but 2004 की बात है, so it does not feel it wasn't obvious at that particular time, although it was not too long ago. But now it feels very obvious to us because we are seeing so many data systems around us कि ये सारी चीजें obvious लगती है. But at that time it was pretty huge, pretty huge thing to do. Okay, it was also featured in this particular article. In if you want to read in detail, this has all the details in this article has the details. So mainly most of the retailers जो लोग दुकान चलाते हैं, they have this, they try to not get into this issue, which is having too much of inventory or not having enough inventory. मतलब बहुत सारी चीजें जो आपके दुकान में रखी हुई है लेकिन बिक नहीं रही है, या फिर कुछ ऐसी चीजें जो आपके दुकान में बिकने वाली थी लेकिन आपके पास है ही नहीं, right? So that is the nightmare of a retailer. That is a nightmare of a store owner, and they usually want to avoid that. All right. So that was another example of this Hurricane Francis and Walmart, all right? Which is again a case study. Obviously, I've shared the link with you. You all are welcome to read that link. Save it for your reference. All right. So I had this case study that I wanted to discuss with you all. But looking at the time, I think we may run out of the time here. But let's give it a shot. Maybe for 5 minutes, let's discuss this. Okay? So I want you all to unmute yourself firstly. सब लोग unmute कर लो. And I'll just explain you the scenario. Imagine करो आप डीमार्ट के एक लोकल डीमार्ट के ओनर हो और अभी गणपति विसर्जन का टाइम है पुणे में, और आपको प्लान करना है कि कौन सी चीजें मुझे डीमार्ट में फिल करनी है गणपति विसर्जन के वक्त. गणपति विसर्जन के वक्त आपके ट्रक्स नहीं आ सकते हैं क्योंकि रोड सारे बंद होते हैं, तो आपको ऑलमोस्ट 10 days या फिर मे बी अ वीक बिफोर ही सब कुछ प्लान करना है. तो व्हाट इज द डेटा दैट यू विल बी नीडिंग? सो यू आर अ हायर डेटा साइंटिस्ट for DMart. So what is the data that we'll be needing firstly? So let's start thinking about that. Who wants to go for it? All right, so we just have 5 minutes. Let's go.
It could be Ganpati idols made out of that material. Puja material, thalis, diyas, incense sticks.
Correct. So the answers that you're telling, these are the obvious ones, right? Because you have some domain knowledge, you know what is required in the Ganpati Visarjan. But can you use the data? So that is the question. What data do you need? So that is what I want to understand first. So you being a data scientist, or you being the hired person by DMart, when you are asked, what do you need from us? So imagine there's a guy who does not know anything about Ganpati, who does not know anything about Ganpati Visarjan, who's never visited Pune or anything. Okay. Now he's given this task. Obviously, it's a scenario which is hypothetical. Most of the people will have some domain knowledge. But imagine कि आपको नहीं है domain knowledge कुछ भी. And now, what is the first question you ask? आपको क्या चाहिए? DMart will tell you, what do you want me to tell you? Ask me questions, I'll give you the answers, and then you give me the final answer. So, yeah.
Can
Yeah.
it be? Can it be whatever?
What data do you need? So that's the question I want. Right? So you tell me what data do you need. So I am the Walmart. You are hired. I'll be asking you, what do you need from me? Tell me. मैं आपको क्या बताऊं? So ask questions to me, and I'll give you the answers.
I would
If
ask for the
possible, मैं चाहूंगी कि मुझे पता चले. Okay, Niharika, continue please.
Yeah, Ashmita. I would ask for the last 5 years of sales report in the month of, say, October or whenever Ganpati Visarjan is, so that we can see what is the hike in which particular item. So we could, just predict that these particular items would be again a hike in this season.
Correct. So I'll give you the list of things that were. I'll give you the list of all the transactions that happened in the last 5 Ganpati Visarjans. All right. You have the data now. What else do you need?
How many groups are there around us? मतलब कि पूरे पुणे के अंदर कितने ग्रुप है जो अलग अलग जगह पर गणपति लेकर बैठे हैं, सो दैट वी कैन ऑर्गेनाइज कि अगर वो लोग बल्क के अंदर हमारे से जो विसर्जन के कुर्ते वगैरह होते हैं, जो लोगों का पूरा ड्रेस कोड होता है, तो आई वांट टू प्ले विद दैट कि हाँ कितने, अगर मानो 10, 15, 20, 25 ग्रुप है, तो एक एक ग्रुप के अंदर मानो 10, 20 लोग भी है, तो अलग अलग टाइप के अलग अलग डिजाइन के कुर्ते वगैरह, पजामे वगैरह हम लोग डिजाइन करते हैं और हमारे स्टोर के अंदर रख सकते हैं, एंड वी कैन ऑल्सो ऑफर देम.
Correct. So I'll tell you this. I'll pull a restriction now. I'll say that I being DMart, I only have information about myself. मुझे सिर्फ मेरे बारे में पूछो आप. Don't ask me data for the third party. Don't ask me the data about कि अभी कितने गणपति के ग्रुप्स है, ये सब कुछ मुझे नहीं पता. You just ask me for the data that I have. I'll put that restriction on you now. Now what do you think? So obviously I can get all of that information, but I don't have that many resources to go out and get the data. I just have my data. Can you just tell me a answer for my data?
ओके, सो ऑल्सो इट इज मॉडिफाइड एक्चुअली कि मैं ये पूछूंगी कि गणपति विसर्जन के ड्यूरेशन के अंदर सेम टाइप ऑफ फ्लोस जो है पिछले साल कितने दिखे थे, क्योंकि अगर वो
Correct.
लोग हैं तो उन लोगों का ड्रेस कोड के अकॉर्डिंग वो सारे सारे वॉलमार्ट नहीं आएंगे, तो वी कैन कम टू नो कि हाँ बल्क के अंदर इतना इतना कपड़ा इस हिसाब से बिका था, तो वो लास्ट के ट्रांजेक्शन जो है उसे हम लोग फैच कर सकते हैं. वी कैन रीच आउट टू
Correct.
देम अगेन.
So all right. So that is the transactions or the inventory that was sold during the last few Ganpati Visarjans. All right. So now we are sorted out कि ये सारी inventory है. Okay. What else do you need? What else questions can you ask?
Sir, available stock now.
Right? How much space is available right now, and how much of these products do you have present in your shop right now, so that I don't over fill your store. Correct? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
Correct. All right. What else? What is the
हाउ
current
मेनी
state?
ड्रम्स वर सोल्ड लास्ट ईयर?
So last 5 years का data
हाउ
आपको
मेनी?
मिल गया. You have last 5 years, not just in last year. You have last 5 years. I'll give you that data. So imagine कि आपके पास transactions का data आ गया last 5 years का, and you have identified कि ये सारे products लगने वाले हैं. इसको छोड़ के और क्या लगने वाला है आपको? Yes.
ये चीज पूछ सकते हैं ना हम लोग कि ये आपका कैपेसिटी क्या है कि आप कितना इन्वेस्ट करोगे शॉपकीपर?
They want to sell everything. So shopkeeper is, so the
Like,
problem is not that
is आपका
shopkeeper don't have enough money. The problem is the shopkeeper don't want to overbuy.
ओवर बाय. ओके.
Problem ये नहीं कि I don't have money. The problem is I don't want to have this issue, which is too much of inventory or not enough inventory. I don't want to have this.
ओके, देन सर क्लासिफिकेशन करेंगे कौन से आइटम ज्यादा है, देन प्रेडिक्ट करेंगे कि ये पर्टिकुलर आइटम का सेल ज्यादा है, तो देन यू कैन परचेस इट, ऐसा बोल सकते हैं.
Correct. So I know that what inventory so inventory is out of the question. I understood क्या inventory लगने वाली है. I also understood कि कितना inventory लगने वाला है. वो सब कुछ मुझे मिल गया. All right. So from my data scientist, I got that information. And you
have to
can you
know
also help me more? I have to know
population on that particular area.
that is again the third party. I don't have access to that population, right? So that population is something that is stored in a government database. Although it's freely available, you're free to use it from outside, but मैं DMart आपको नहीं available करके दूंगा वो information. You just ask me information on which I have control.
ऑफर रख सकते हैं, मतलब कि वी कैन सजेस्ट यू कीप द ऑफर्स.
We can suggest on the offers. Okay, yeah, we can do that. Correct. So we can tell that, okay, looks like you have more inventory, more things in your shop than you should usually have. So maybe try to free up some space for the new things that are coming in. So how do you free up? You free up by putting offers on things which are not going to be sold during that time. So just put offers on them and try to push them out of the shop. Right?
Yes.
So that's one.
Yes.
Correct. What else?
Hello.
Yes.
Actually, not sure, but maybe purchase time.
Purchase time. Could you please elaborate more on that?
Actually, suppose कि अगर कोई मोस्टली पीपल अगर सुबह को विसर्जन करने वाले हैं तो वो ज्यादा प्रोडक्ट वहां पे रख सकते हैं, स्पेशली मॉर्निंग टाइम पे ऐसे.
Yeah. I mean, yes, we can do that, but that's again about the inventory, right? So we know that the inventory लगने वाला है, कितना inventory लगने वाला है, कितना ज़्यादा सेल होने वाला है, वो सारी इन्फॉर्मेशन हमने दे दी डीमार्ट को. ओके, आपका विसर्जन के दिन सुबह में कितना रखना है, शाम में कितना रखना है, दोपहर में कितना रखना है, वो सारी इन्फॉर्मेशन डीमार्ट को दे दी हमने. कुछ और क्या क्या कर सकते हैं, दैट इज व्हाट वी आर ट्राइंग टू अंडरस्टैंड.
Fetching the contact details of the previous year and WhatsApp message that. Pantaloons also do the same.
Send the WhatsApp, try to push things out of the shop, or maybe tell them that these things were out of we were out of these things last year, but don't worry, this year we got your back. We have all of this stored in our store. You can come anytime and buy it from us. Correct? Is that what you're saying? Last year जो भी गलतियां हुई थी हमसे, गलतियां मतलब we were out of some of the inventory because we didn't fill enough.
Yes, sir.
And if we have a customer information, we can maybe push
Contact
those
number.
specials out.
Yes.
उनको बता सकते हैं कि okay, last year we apologize that we didn't have this information or we didn't have this things, but this year we have a lot of inventory on that thing, and we hope you come and visit us. Good. What about the operations? Can we, as a Walmart, tell how many trucks can be traveling towards the respective Walmarts? Operations के बारे में क्या लग रहा है आपको? Operations मतलब trucks आते हैं, right? Walmart का सामान जो लेके trucks आते हैं, कितने trucks लगने वाले हैं? Can you also tell me that? You told me how much inventory is needed, right? आप लोग मुझे बता रहे हो कि as a data scientist, you are telling me कि that you will be needing this much inventory, these many puja items, these many lights, this many lamps, this many water, this much water chips, and all of that information is good. Now, can you also tell me if this is all the information, this is all the inventory I need? Can you also tell me how should I start filling them? क्या मैं सारे 7 दिन पहले लेके आ जाऊं, या फिर सारे 5 दिन पहले लेके आऊं, या फिर कुछ 3 दिन पहले, कुछ 4 दिन पहले, कुछ 1 दिन पहले? How do I fill it? Correct? How do I fill my store with the inventory that you're telling me? जो पूजा के items होते हैं, some are perishable, correct? So maybe you can suggest me कि the non-perishable items you send before the 7 days, but जो perishable items है उनको 1 दिन पहले fill up करना शुरू करो. Things like that, correct? Make sense?
Yes.
Sir.
Good. All right. I think that exercise was good. We are almost running out of time here. I know many of you have the day's commitment now, so I'll stop here. I'll stop at this particular diagram, which is your data science process. This is the process that you're going to follow. I'll be showing you this diagram a couple of times in next sessions too. So just stare at this diagram. If you understand, it's good. If you don't understand, still it's fine. Just stare at this diagram for some time, and then I'll see you all in the next session. I'm here to address any of the questions you have, and I'll also stop the recording till then.